Okay, we'll put in some bogus password. Okay, we're in. So again, the attacker is going to want to try and get more credentials by opening up the shadow file. And there you can see the trolling has begun. We're getting a lot of activity. Look, new connection, login attempt succeeded. Oh, look at this, command found. What is this? They're switching up SSH keys? What is this lock command that they tried to pull? Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. In this video we are going to be trolling the hackers with a honeypot. We're going to be setting up a VPS that will have a Cowrie repository to create a simulated secure shell for the hackers to believe that they've actually taken root control over a legitimate machine. We will then be able to adjust files of interest to control what the attacker sees and monitor the entire interactions. So let's go ahead and get started. At the top of this README for the Cowrie repo, you will see there is a link to documentation here. Here you'll find the 7 steps to install. They're very simple. We'll go through them together. Something to take note of though is that we need this machine to be public, right? We need it to be publicly exposed. So I'm going to be creating a VPS on DigitalOcean. You can use whatever cloud provider that you would like. So I'll go ahead and create a droplet. Let it pick a default location. And for the machine, I'm going to use the most affordable option. I do recommend at least 1 gig. For connecting to the machine, you can choose between password or a key. You're going to want to go with an SSH key. You can create a key on your computer, just simple ChatGPT question, and then you just import the public key that gets provided to you to your cloud provider. And then behind the scenes, it'll add that key to the authorized keys list in the .ssh folder. Okay, so once you have that key linked to your resource, go ahead and create it. And once it's spun up, we'll be able to interact with it. Okay, great. Now that our resource is created, you can see that you'll be assigned a public IP address so that you can connect to it through SSH there. Another way that you can typically connect to a VPS through your cloud provider is they will offer some type of web-based console and it'll log you in to the machine as root. Now, typically you do not want to just be running around as root. You want to have a non-root admin user. You know what? I actually have here. Setting up an admin user. First, let me do the updates and the upgrades. Yeah, all right. System's upgrading. Okay, now that the system's upgraded, let me go ahead and add a user. Since we're root, we don't really need this sudo, right? But I'm gonna just add user, admin user. I'm gonna make a complicated password because we haven't disabled password authentication on our SSH configuration file yet. All right. And now we need to give the admin user sudo privileges. So we'll do a user mod for the user and the group to add sudo to admin user. Okay. Now that we've created our admin user, we can go ahead and disable root login, and then we can disable password authentication. But first we should actually copy the keys now that I'm thinking about it. So let's copy the keys. All right, so the keys I'm talking about, there is a hidden folder, a .ssh folder, and inside of it is a file that contains authorized keys. So with that authorized keys, we need to copy it over to the admin user. First, let's create a .ssh directory for admin user. Okay, and then we will copy the folder over with the authorized keys list, and we still need to change ownership for admin user. Now that we've done that, we can try and connect as admin user to the machine. So I'll SSH as admin user to the public IP address of this machine. All right, and let's see, yes, and I got it denied because of the public key. So a little bit more advanced syntax is when you create a key, you can give the key a name or an identity. And so I've given it an identity for my SSH key called droplet. And then that will be the key I use for admin user. All right, and you can see that we are in now, yeah? I am now admin user at this Ubuntu machine. We'll disable root login and we'll disable password authentication just to harden this machine since we're gonna be exposing it to be attacked, eh? So as root, we will go and modify our SSH config. We will turn permit root login to be no, okay? And then we need to find password authentication. If you don't know where something is, you can use a Control W. Oh, looks like that doesn't work on web-based terminals, eh? Okay, let's try it again. Okay, yeah, so you want to turn permit root login to no. And then there is a disable password authentication here. Notice that it's commented out, right? So you'll need to turn it on and change this to no. So that way, if someone were able to guess the password for the admin user, it wouldn't matter. You still need the key. Okay, so now that we've made those configuration changes, we need to restart the service with system control, okay? We should be all good to go. Now you'll notice because I disabled root login, the web-based console, which logs in as root, is no longer to connect, right? You can only connect now as admin user with the key. So now that we've protected the login for this machine as much as possible, let's go back into installing our Cowrie. Okay, so it gives us just these list of commands. This is going to install all of our Python dependencies. Copy that over. Okay, all the Python dependencies have been installed. Now you'll notice step 2 here says create a user account. It's strongly recommended to run with a dedicated non-root user ID. In this case, they named it Cowrie, and they have this disable password so that you can't log into the account. And notice that before they switch to the user, no sudo privileges are given. So in the event that the Honeypot is compromised and they are somehow managed to escape and become Cowrie, they would have no ability to do sudo privilege requests. So let's go ahead and add our user. Okay, cool. And then it says to switch to that user. Now we're going to check out the code. Okay, this is going to clone from the GitHub repository. Something you should take note of is that downloading things from the internet is not considered a sudo request. All right, now we'll cd into Cowrie, which is the repo that we just pulled. And you can see all of the files just like we saw on GitHub. Now we want to make sure that we're inside the repo, that is home Cowrie. Yes, we are. And we're going to initialize our virtual environment with this Python command. It's like my shell's acting kind of funky today. All right, so we're going to go ahead and initialize our virtual environment. Okay, and then we'll activate it with the source command. Great, and you can see now we're inside of our Python virtual environment. First, we can do an upgrade on our pip. And then you'll notice that inside of our repository, there is a requirements.txt file, which is listing out all of the dependencies that this Honeypot is going to use. All right, so let's go ahead and install those requirements. Now we have step 5, install the configuration file. It says here to run with standard configuration, there is no need to change anything. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is the fun part. This is where we actually get to start the service. Inside of the bin folder here, there is a Cowrie executable. And if we try to run that executable, it'll display some usage options for us. The one that we want is a start, right? So we'll run that. All right, it says starting Cowrie. One of the things we want to do is verify it's running. So we'll do a status command and we see Cowrie is running. Listening on port 22 is optional. The default is 2222. We'll just keep it 2222 for now and move on into the fun stuff. So you'll notice inside of the var folder, there is a library, a log, and a run. Log is where the logs are. So we'll go into log and there is a Cowrie folder and there is 2 types of log files. There's a .json file, which you can use to parse for whatever type of analysis you want to do. And then there's the .log file. So we can do a tail on Cowrie and we can see how the machine is running, okay? So it's ready to accept connections. So the way it would look like from our side of the fence when an attacker tries to hit this machine is they'll try to secure shell as a root to this machine and we'll get a denied, right? Because this Honeypot is actually running on port 2222. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? We'll say yes, of course. And it'll ask for the password. One thing that hackers will try to do is use the username as the password. So if root's the username, root would be the password and we get a deny. However, anything except root will work. And that is by design to create that realism that it worked on the second try, not the first try. Now you can see it shows us that the attacker has received a shell. Something else that's cool about this honeypot is that it can read all the commands that the hacker is typing in. So what we'll do is I'll exit out as the attacker right now. I'll clear this out and refresh it. Let's go in as admin user. What we want to do is adjust the files of interest. So on the GitHub repo, you'll see that there's a section for files of interest, which lists out different things that we can edit to customize our honeypot. One of the ones I really like is the post login banner. So we can change what they see after logging in. We even have contents in the file system that we can adjust. So something that hackers will try to do once they've gotten into a machine is gather more credentials. So they would have to open up the shadow file, which is where the hashed passwords for users are stored. They then take those hashes and try to crack them. So what we can do is for the honeypot, we'll change the shadow file to be something funny. So going in as our Cowrie user, we can cd into Cowrie. Let's put GitHub on the side here, okay? And let's find the honey file system, okay? So you can see it's listed right here. We'll go inside there. There is an Etsy folder, and there is the shadow file. So we can nano the shadow file. This is everything that the attacker will see when they open up the shadow file. So what we'll do is we'll remove all of this, okay? And over on this guide that I created for myself so I can do this faster for you guys, I have some pre-made content for the shadow file. You can see that has some funny messages in there, like Root, Shadow King, haha, nice try buddy. Elon sucks, Dogecoin to the moon, but not this file. I think Elon's pretty cool. I don't think he sucks. Rick Roll, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. And just a bunch of funny things for them to probably realize at this point that there's nothing of actual interest here. Now that we've edited that, let's try to attack the machine so that we can make sure it's taken effect. I'm actually gonna open up a new terminal for this one. I'll put it up here. So we'll try to SSH as root on port 2222. Okay, we'll put in some bogus password. Okay, we're in. So again, the attacker is going to want to try and get more credentials by opening up the shadow file. And there you can see the trolling has begun. We're going to do a couple more. So another one that's pretty funny is to change what they see on their post login message. So Cowrie has a file inside of Etsy called motd. Okay, so let's see, we can list out, and it's right here. Okay, so we'll nano that open. And very standard stuff. This program included with Debian our free software, exact, right? All that mumbo jumbo. So you can just delete that. You can replace it with anything you want. Here I have a funny message of welcome elite hacker. Today's mission, hack into the FBI's kitten database. Steal secrets from Area 51 about alien stock technology. Good luck, Agent 007. Another cool place you can go to customize your honeypot is the command repo. Inside of source, there is a nested folder in data called text commands. So let's go into text commands. Bin has some of the common ones that are used, and you'll see that the df command will show information on the file system. So what we'll do is we will replace it, but some funny content. We have file system, dev honeypot, and then we also have 100% use on lost sanity. You can see that it's easy for anyone to spin up a honeypot with some basics in Linux. Once you know how to adjust these file systems, you can really have fun with it. And then anything that the attackers download to that machine can actually be seen here. Now, something I'm curious about, because obviously we want to see some action here, right? So let me go ahead and cat open the service that's running on 22, my actual SSH service. We're already getting attacked. Someone tried to log in as Jan. Whereas over here on 2222, we're actually not seeing much action. So if we could just do that port forwarding that we saw before, I think we could have a lot more fun. Okay, so that we don't lose access on our SSH server, we're going to edit our SSH config file. So we're going to sudo nano our etc ssh sshd config. Okay, and let's change this port to port 23. Okay, let me try to connect to the machine on port 23. Connection refused. I think because I need to do a daemon reload. Restart the socket. Okay, so after doing a daemon reload and a restart on the socket, looks like I've been able to get the port 22 to connect to close. I am now able to connect on port 23 as admin user. So we can now adjust the IP tables to forward traffic from 22 to port 2222. So I'll run that command. All right. Okay, now that I've done that, let me test it, right? Oh, look, we're already getting attempts. Okay, let me clear this out. Let's start again. All right, guys, it's running, dude. We have people actually hitting the machine now. Oh, look at that. Could not read Etsy user db.txt. Oh, look here. Login attempt, SJ failed. So if we wanted to change which usernames are being logged in, let's go back into our files of interest, and you'll notice that there is a userdb.txt, okay? So let's see. Because they're trying like Kimberly, like what is that? Like, come on, guys. Let's go see that file of interest. We're looking to check out the user DB. So we need to switch user to Cowrie, go into the Cowrie repository. Okay, there is a userdb.example. So I guess I would need to copy userdb to userdb.txt. Okay, let's nano it. Looks like anything and some password will work. Any username and any password should work. Okay, so now that we've made the change to the userdb.txt, we can see that ejudge with some random password succeeded. Here, let me clear this out. We're getting a lot of activity. Look, new connection, login attempt succeeded. Oh, look at this, command found. What is this? They're switching up SSH keys? What is this lock command that they tried to pull? Like, what is this, dude? I keep seeing this command here, right? Like, what is this? Let's copy that. And you can see it's so easy to set up this honeypot, right? The trolling is cool and it's fun and all, right? But you can learn so much here. So let's go to chat. I'm gonna say from a honeypot I set up, here are some commands I'm seeing. We'll put those in there. Okay, so what they're attempting to do is establish persistent access to the server by modifying the SSH configuration. Yeah, they're trying to change the keys, dude. Oh, look, here's some more. Yeah, look, this guy did the same thing. They did the same exact thing. Whew, that's crazy. So the first thing they want to do is make sure that they can stay there, huh? They get access to the machine, and then they override the SSH keys for whatever user that they compromised. Look at this one. XJF succeeded. They tried to do these commands here. That's interesting. What is that? Let's see what that command is. A chat TR and a lock R. I don't know what those are. They're trying to manipulate file attributes on the .ssh directory to bypass protections and lock it against modification. They're trying to ensure that they can modify the .ssh contents by removing restrictive attributes. It's pretty evil, bro. So that's crazy, right? Like we had time to change our configuration for the honeypot. It wasn't until we did the port forwarding from 2222 that we started seeing some action. It seems like the first task they have after getting into the machine is just establishing persistence, right? Every attempt we've seen here, they're just adding new keys or trying to modify which keys can be read. That is our .ssh authorized keys, which we covered at the way beginning with our admin user, remember? And you can see with how much we're being attacked why it's important to harden your system before going ahead and setting up this honeypot. We created a non-root admin user, then we created a user just for the honeypot service, the Cowrie user, and then within that account, we finally downloaded the repository, adjusted the configuration files, and then to finally get some traffic into it, we did our port forwarding. Like we saw before, you can customize your honeypot to however you want. Once you got some traffic going in, you can start looking into the commands that they're executing and you can see what the hacker is trying to do on the machine. It's a heck of a learning experience, and it's a lot of fun too. So with that, I hope you had a lot of fun. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.